Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Just thought I'd take a few minutes. It's probably going to take longer than I think, to explain my harsh noise, PE, whatever current setup. I know this is a ton of stuff. It's not just for the sake of having as much gear on the table as possible. Originally started with a pretty small setup and then it just grew. This is actually a setup intended for two people to operate, quote unquote. But yeah, so let me take you over here to the mixer first. This is an Allen Heath ZED 10 effects, I guess, 4-input mixer. At least that's what I use, just the 4 mono inputs. So obviously there's a lot going on this table, like I showed a minute or so ago. I'll just take you through the individual channels here. So channel 1 with the red cable, that has this electrolobotomy, I think it's called the cut up mixer, which is a really basic passive little mini mixer. It doesn't have any equalization options there. It just has volumes and these little switches to engage the 4 different channels, or a little buttons that you can hold down here to switch between the channels rapidly. I think it's mainly intended for more like cut up style noise, but my bandmate utilized this as his own little mixer. He does the cut up thing also. But here, so this has 4 channels. First channel with the yellow cable is going to be this. This is a Surcut white noise generator. It just has just an on-off switch, and like it's almost like a high and low frequency manipulation knob. That's going into this electrolobotomy. It's just called the harsh feedback device. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's almost like a fuzz pedal type thing. There's not much information on it or about it, but I'll demonstrate all this in a minute. That's going into a Behringer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I guess, 7 band equalizer pedal, into the classic Boss HM2. Actually, it's the Japanese one, if it matters, pedal. That's the first input, the yellow cable. Then the kind of maroon cable is going to this mess. So this is going to be an electrolobotomy clusterfuck, I believe it's called. Mine is broken. I've had it for going on 10 years now. I could do a whole separate video on this thing, but it's basically like a really chaotic synthesizer with a power drain. And I think it's rate, I think it's low through high, mids, lows, something like that. That going into a Behringer multi-effects, currently on the pitch shifter setting. That's going into a very beat up Boss Metal Zone. So that's the second input on this mixer. The third is the purple cable, which is a contact microphone with a piece of steel wool, or one of the, I think it's Korg contact mics, clipped onto steel wool, into a Boss bass overdrive, into another Boss Metal Zone. Then the final channel, which is the black cable, is going, let me see where, into a DoD FX86 death metal pedal, which is also really busted, into a Mario bit crusher, into a Korg Monotron little mini synth thing. Which, hey, these things look like toys, but they're like very, very effective. You can do actually quite a cool amount of things with it. So that is all those 4 channels are going into here, which are going into the first input of my mixer. So let me crank this guy on. So I would not recommend using this as a primary mixer, because there's a good amount of bleed. Like you can kind of hear, I have this running through my just little computer monitors here. So here's the, I'll just use the little kill switch buttons here. So here's the noise generator. Then we got the clusterfuck electrolobotomy, I think, right? Yep. So then we got the contact mic. Then the Korg Bonitron. Then with these kill switches, you go all crazy. All together. So that's input 1. Then this black and blue cable that's going into input 2 is going to be going, it's primarily sourced with my Korg Monologue, which I've had for a couple years now. I have several different synthesizers I use. Up here I got the Arturia, I think, Mini Brute, then the classic Korg MS-20 Mini. But I like this one to use live because you can save like sounds you make in this sound bank. So that way, if you're trying to replicate a specific track live, or just you have a certain setting that you made that you really like, you can save it into the sound bank. So that's why I utilize this, and it's kind of a little bit more user-friendly than these two guys. So I have that. This is way more simple than the previous chain here. I just have the Korg Monologue going into a Behringer Super Fuzz into a Boss Digital A DD7. That's it. So I'll kind of give you a preview of what that sounds like. So I made some preset, really, I guess, creepy sort of presets on here. So we got like... And you can throw the other channel on too. That's going to be channel 2. Channel 3 is also simple. This is this bastard right here. The Roland SP404SX sampler. Now, you could technically do an entire set of many different genres on this thing alone. In fact, there are a couple noise experimental artists that only use this for their set. Now, you could equally achieve what this thing does with a phone app. But hey, no one wants to go up on stage using their phone, at least in my opinion. But on here, I could do a whole separate video on this thing. I got this year. I'm still learning what potential this thing has. For now, what I do is I think it holds like something crazy like 48 hours of sounds you can load on here. I got this thing used. It came with an SD card. And so what I do is you can record directly into this. Like, I could technically plug in one of these chains of pedals or my whole mixer into this and record onto one of these pads. That's kind of cheating, in my opinion. So what I do is I load up field recordings onto these pads to add some extra texture to our overall sound. I'll try to give you an example here. This may be really, really loud, but I have a ton of different sounds that I actually recorded at my workplace, which we have like lots of scrap metal and weird farming devices and stuff. And I'll usually run just raw sounds that I recorded with my phone through the bass overdrive, which just adds a little bit of gain. So I'll just show you some examples of stuff I have. A lot of these are inconsistent volume. So then again, this is channel 3 with like this black cable. So like some scraping metal sounds that I fucked around with. Air compressor. A pallet dragging across a bunch of rocks. I'm not really sure what that is. Some of these are going to get quiet here. Like a fan or something. Some dogs barking. A squeaky fan. I think it was a forklift motor. You don't want to know. Some creepy stuff. So what you can essentially do with this is, well, all sorts of different things. But for example, let me throw on some creepy throw that on, then throw some synthesizer behind it. So that was channels 1 and 2 going there. So, yep, Roland sampler. And then the final thing here is this last black cable going in the 4th input, which I usually use for mic feedback / vocals. So what I got here is the Boss Hyperfuzz I've been wanting one of these for a while. Yes, I know it's basically the same thing as that, but yeah, you get that name brand, baby. Then this is kind of a more rare Boss pedal. This is a Boss feedback booster. It's basically a boost pedal. I'll kind of show you how that works in a minute. Got the Boss phase shifter, and then the Digitech digital delay. This thing's really cool. It probably sucks for guitar, but it's great for like feedback manipulation. So prepare your eardrums here. I'm gonna switch this one on. Hello, yo, 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 yo. So here's the didn't see you there. Okay, didn't see you there. So yeah, 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 so yeah. That's the feedback manipulation / vocal setup. That is pretty much it. Now, if you want, I can fire everything up. And I'll tell you, it is a bitch to try to mix all of these to make sure everything is at least kind of audible. That's why I invested in a pretty higher end mixer, because the lower quality mixer, from my experience, the less your shit is gonna cut through, and like the less audible everything is separately. Because with a bunch of stuff at extremely high gain, it's gonna start cutting each of the other channels out. Something I learned is to not have everything too in the red, which is not at all what I'm doing. It's totally in the red right now, but whatever. So let me fire everything up. So let's do the noise generator, cut up mixer with all the other bullshit going on. And then the synth. Samples. And feedback. Oh, hey. Good to see you there. All right. Good to see you there. So yeah, that's this whole big ass mess. Enjoy.